Hello, my dear students. Today's lesson is about the trigonometric curves. This year in IGCSE, we are concerned in 3 trigonometric functions: sine, cosine, and tan. But there are further for advanced levels for A level and for AS. But for IGCSE, we are only limited in sine, cosine, and tan. Only 3 trigonometric functions. The first curve above the sine curve, as you see, you can find smileys on my graph because I'm speaking about 5 major angles, which you're just adding 90s. Sine 0 is 0. Sine 90 is 1. You can click it on calculator. Be faster than me. Sine 180 is 0. Sine 270 is -1. And sine 360 is 0. When you connect these 5 smileys, it must be a smooth curve. Don't draw it with a ruler. You will draw it with free hand. Please draw the curve smoothly with your free hand. How does the sine curve look like? It is a cup above x-axis and a cup below x-axis. A cup above x-axis and a cup below x-axis. Say it, a cup above x-axis and a cup below x-axis. It starts from 0, ends at 360. But don't think that these are only our angles. We have negative angles, but this is not in IGCSE syllabus. We have angles larger than 360. How much? Till infinity. But this is not in IGCSE syllabus. This is in A level and AS. So we will take only from 0 to 360. This is our domain. About the cosine curve. It starts also from 0 till 360, but it looks different than sine curve. Please try on your calculator now. Click cosine 0, it is 1. Cosine 90 is 0. Cosine 180 is -1 below x-axis. And cosine 270 is 0. Cosine 360 is +1. And when you connect these 5 smileys, you will find a smooth curve. Please don't try to use the ruler. It should be half a cup above x-axis, full cup below x-axis, half a cup above x-axis. Say it again. Cosine curve. Half a cup above x-axis, a full cup below x-axis, then half a cup above x-axis. It looks like that. Show me. How does it look like? Like that. Take care that the sine curve is periodic. What's the meaning of periodic? It means a cup above x-axis and a cup below x-axis. This is a full curve. It will be repeated after that from 360 till 720, a cup above x-axis and a cup below x-axis, and then keep up repeating forever till infinity. And behind the 0, there are the negative angles. You will find extension for the curve also. So that's why we say the period is 360, because this full curve is keep on repeating every 360 degrees. Cosine curve is also periodic and it repeats every 360 degrees. The period is 360. It means it looks like that, as I told you. It starts from 1, going down and goes up till 1. Okay? And it keeps on repeating every 360 degrees. That's why the period is 360 for the cosine curve too. We have to be careful when we solve trigonometric equations that the sine value and the cosine value, both of them have a maximum value of 1 and the minimum value of -1. Impossible to find an angle that its sine exceeds 1. Let's try. Shift sine 2. Shift sine 2. Calculator wrote math error. Why math error? Because he cannot find an angle in the world whose sine is more than 1. Impossible. Cosine has the same feature. The maximum value of the cosine is 1 and the minimum value of the cosine is -1, but never exceeds these two limits. The tan curve is completely different. We have here an asymptote at 90 degrees, an asymptote at 270 degrees, and this means that the curve approaches the asymptote but never touches it. It keeps up going till up in the sky, till infinity. This means that 10, 90 degrees specifically, you cannot find a value for it. It's infinite. How can you find, it's undefined for your information at IGCSE. Try to click at 10, 90 degrees, the calculator will, the result will be math error. Math error means that it's an undefined quantity. The same thing for 270, and there are multiples when you take more angles in ES or A level. So we call it asymptote because the curve approaches it but never touches it. This means that if you click 10, 89.999, 10, 89.999, it will be 57,295. You can find a great value for a 10 of an angle, which is normal. But sine and cosine, we never find a big value like that. Also, 10, 90.1, just after 90, expect to be a negative value and it's big value. 10, 90.1. It's negative 572. Okay? And same for 100, before 270, like 269, and after 270, like 271, we can find the same attitude. The period of the tan curve is not 360, it is 180. As you see, this curve is repeated from 90 to 270. Subtract 270 minus 90, it is 180. So the full curve is keeping up, repeating every 180 degrees. Now we spoke about the curves, but we need to know, what did I write in the boxes? Sine x equals sine 180 minus x. What does this mean? I'll tell you. On the y-axis, which reads sine and angle, just in the middle between 0 and 1 at 0.5, you draw a dotted line, a horizontal line, and you will discover that it cuts the cup at 2 points. When we go down and read it from x-axis, we will find this angle is 30 degrees as this angle is 150. Of course, it is just a sketch. How did I know? I used the calculator. So click shift sine 0.5. Shift sine 0.5 equals how much? 30 degrees. And from the symmetry of this cup, you know the word symmetry. One day I'll explain symmetry for you. Okay? This cup is symmetric. Okay? From the 0, you move forward positive 30 degrees. From 180, you move backward minus 30 degrees. You will find 180 minus 30 is 150. How to check? Simply click sine 30. It is positive half. And sine 150. It is the same positive half. Wow. Does this apply for more angles? Yes. Fill in the blanks. Sine 70. We will say 180 minus 70, 180 minus 70. Yes, it's 110. Try it on the calculator. It is the same value. Sine 70, it is 0.9397. Four significant figures. 9397. The same sine 110. What is the condition to apply this rule? Take care, this angle x should be an acute angle. So sine and acute is sine 180 minus this acute. Sine acute equals sine 180 minus this acute. Sine the acute equals sine 180 minus this acute. What about cosine? Does it have a rule? Yes. We'll do the same issue. Having a dotted line just in the middle between 0 and 1. which is 0.5. It's an easy value for you. You can imagine it and expect the answer. At 0.5, we took here a horizontal line, and then it cuts the curve at two places, but they are far from each other. One of them at an acute angle as usual, and the other one at an angle which exceeded 270 degrees. It means it cuts the curve at an acute angle and at a reflex angle. From the symmetry of the half of the cup I told you about, here is half of a cup above x-axis, a full cup below x-axis, half a cup above x-axis. And from the symmetry, here you moved from 0 forward till 60 degrees. How did I know? This is not accurate. I use calculator. Shift cosine 0.5. Shift cosine 0.5. The angle is 60 degrees, as I told you. You move forward positive 60 degrees from the origin, from the 0. And for symmetry, you move backward 360 minus 60. This angle will be how much? Who can find it? 300. This angle is 300. Okay, so if you need to check your work, let's check. Everything in math has a check. Cosine 60 is 0.5. Cosine 300 is also 0.5. So there is a rule. Cosine the acute angle equal cosine 360 minus this acute. Cosine the acute angle equals cosine 360 minus this acute. So let's write it. Cosine 60 equals cosine 300. Do you need another example for acute angles? Okay. Cosine 80 equals cosine 360 minus 80 will be 280. How to check? Click cosine 80. It will be 0.1736. Click cosine 280. It will be, wow, it's the same value. What about tan? Tan is having also a rule. Let's say it. Tan the acute angle equals tan 180 plus this acute. Tan the acute angle equals tan 180 plus this acute. 180 plus this acute. What shall I do? Yes, you're right. I'll draw a horizontal line at any value. At 1, for example. Okay, at 1. Let's take a horizontal line at 1. This line will cut the first curve at 45 degrees and will cut the second curve at 225 degrees. How did I know? It's not accurate. I use calculator and I use symmetry. Let's click. Shift tan 1 equals. Shift tan 1 equals. It is 45 degrees. And you moved forward from the start plus 45 degrees. I'll do the same thing here. It looks like the same attitude. 180 plus 45, it will be 225. So what is the rule? Tan 45, which is the acute angle, we have another angle, which is reflex, having the same tan. Tan 45 equals tan 225. Try it on the calculator. Both of them will give you a 1, and so on. Now we understood the attitude of all curves, but I need to explain something for the tan curve. Tan curve cuts x-axis here at 3 points, at 0, 180, and 360, because the period is 180. 0 plus 180 is 180, 180 plus 180 is 360. And between these smileys, exactly in the middle, you find an asymptote. At 90 degrees. Between these two smileys at the middle, you find this asymptote at 270 degrees, which the curve approaches but never touches. Now, did I speak about the 5 famous angles. The 5 famous angles are 0, 90, 0, 90, 180, 270, and 360. When you reach 360, it means you make a full revolution. Okay? From 0 to 90, it's acute. From 90 to 180, it's obtuse. From 180 till 360, it's reflex. Now, I'll write here the names of the quadrants. Quadrants, what does it mean? Does it mean quarters? Yes. The full revolution is divided into 4 quadrants. This is the first quadrant, and this is the second quadrant. You are rotating anti-clockwise. This is the third quadrant, and this is the fourth quadrant. They are very famous worldwide. In all syllabuses, everyone knows first quadrant means between 0 and 90. Second means between 90 and 180, which is specifically for obtuse angle. And first quadrant for acute angles. Then third and fourth, as you see. Let's solve some quizzes. It's quiz time. Da, 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 da. Now, sine 60. We'll say it. Sine 60 equals, yes, 180 minus 60, which is, I need a calculator. No need for calculator. Sine 180 minus 60. So sine and acute equals sine 180 minus this acute. So it is the exact value of sine 120. What about 140? We'll say it. Sine 140, but 140 is not an acute angle, but you can expect. Sine 140, which is obtuse, it has another acute angle which have the same sign. You just calculate it. It is 180 minus this 140, which is sine 40 degrees. Yes. Another indirect question. Given sine an angle which is 0.33, and then on the answer line, he gave us 2 values for x. Fill in the blanks. Why 2 values? Let's go back to the sine curve. The sine curve, if this value is 0.33, you will hit the curve at 2 points. One of them acute and the other one 180 minus this acute. So we have to use the calculator to find sine 0.33. Simply check the mode of the calculator. It must be degrees, not radians, please. Shift sine 0.33. The acute angle is 19.3. Take care. The angle is usually given rounded to 1 decimal place. 19.3 degrees. Did you recognize that your calculator is so cute? It's programmed on only acute angles. Oh, how shall I know the other one? Your human brain, you'll get it. Say 180 minus answer. 180 minus answer will be 160.7. Don't forget to write the bubble of the degrees. Another example for the cosine. He gave me cosine 20. I should write cosine. Which other angle having the same cosine? Let's revise. For the cosine curve, if this is 0.2 on the y-axis, you take a horizontal line. It will hit the curve at an acute angle first, and then over there at 360 minus this acute. Okay, so this one will be 360 minus this acute, which is cosine 340 degrees. And he gave me an example which is completely different. What's this question? Cosine 130? 130 is not. 130 is not an acute angle. It's an obtuse angle. Let's try it on the same curve. Usually, he will ask you in exams to draw the curve, to sketch the curve. Or he can give it to you already sketched and you deduce the values. But of course, you have to use your calculator. So, How much is this angle? 130 degrees. 130, it means it's below x-axis. Okay, the curve will be below x-axis. I'll take here a horizontal line at somewhere, I don't know. But I can see now that this horizontal line will cut the cup below x-axis at 2 points. How to know these 2 points? This is very, very, very important. Actually, if this is 140 degrees, 130 degrees, if this is 130 degrees, how to think about it? Also from the symmetry, 180 minus an acute angle and 180 plus an acute angle, the same acute angle, will give you the other angle. The twin, they are twins. They are giving the same value of the cosine, which is negative. Okay, no need to find the value of cosine. I just need to find the angle. Okay, 180 minus how much? I need to know the acute angle. Sure, 180 minus 50 is 130. So 180 from the symmetry of the cup, 180 plus 50. 180 plus 50 is 230. Wow. Let's take the challenge. This value is cosine 230. I'll say it again. How did I find it out? How to figure it out? I'll write here. 180 minus 130. I need to find an acute angle, which is 50 degrees. And then 180 plus the same acute angle, it will give you 230. I told you before, everything in math has check. Check cosine 130. How much is it? Negative 0.64. Tuck, tuck, tuck. And cosine 230. Wow, it's the same value, negative 0.64. Tuck, tuck, tuck. Here's an indirect question. Cosine x equals 0.22. He wants the values of the angle x. Two values, one of them, sure, you will find it on the calculator. And the other one, let's revise. Cosine an angle, cosine an acute angle is cosine 360 minus this acute. Cosine an acute equals cosine 360 minus this acute. So I'll click shift cosine 0.22. It will be 77.3. Remember, the angles are rounded to 1 decimal place. Okay, so one of them is acute. Okay, what about the other one? It is 360 minus this acute. 360 minus answer. You have on the calculator the button answer to give you accuracy. 360 minus this acute, which is 282.7. Okay? About the sine, how did you find this one? Let's revise. Sine an acute angle is sine 180 minus this acute. So we just calculate 180 minus answer. When you got the 19.3, 180 minus answer. About 10. Now the 10 curve, if we took a horizontal line, we found out that sine 10 an acute angle, it has the same value for another reflex angle, which is 180 plus this acute, 180 plus this acute. So tan 50 is tan 180 plus this acute. 180 plus 50 is 230 equals tan 230. If you need to check, you can easily find it. Tan 50 will give the same result of tan 330. Let's try it. Tan 50 equals 1.19. Tan 230 is the same value, 1.19. Yes. Now tan 100. So 100 is not acute. It's obtuse. Here we can deduce it from the curve. Where is the location of 100? 100 is, and tan 100 sure will be negative values. Okay? Tan 100 will be a negative value. And then You hit the curve and you take a horizontal line. There is another value and go up and read it. How to discover it? Okay, 180 minus 80 gives you 100. Yes. And 360 minus 80 minus 80 is 280. Oh, from symmetry? Yes, it does make sense. 280. I'll say it once more. Tan 100. I'll figure it out here. 180 minus 100. Why did I do it like that? Because I need to find an acute angle. We need an acute angle. And then let's go to the curve. Here, 180 minus this acute, 360 minus this acute will give you the same result. So now 360 minus this acute, which is 80. I said it before, it is 280 degrees. So this is 280 degrees. How to check? Let's click. Tan 100 is how much? Negative. Yes, it's negative. It's below x-axis. Negative 5.67. And tan 280 is, yes, the same, negative 5.67. The last indirect question, and that's all for today in this video, but we'll continue in the next video because this topic is huge. So now, if tan x is 0.44, okay, he needs two values for x. Shift tan 0.44. Calculator is cute. It's programmed to find acute angles only. So it is 23.7 degrees. Shift tan 0.44 gives you an acute angle 23.7. And the other one, let's revise the rule. Tan an acute angle is tan 180 plus this acute. So you just click 180 plus answer equals, it will be 180 plus answer. Remember the button answer, you will need it. It will be 203.7 degrees. Check your work. Tan answer equal, wow, it is 0.44 precisely. That's all for this video. We'll continue in the next video about solving trigonometric equations. Thank you, my dear students. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.